I believe I have a lot to say about this piece. Let's take a moment to chat about the feast. When I first got this commission, I knew that I wanted to do something that I've never done before. Everything that you see in this video is already the final parts of making a painting, especially a commission. At this stage of setting up, I have already gone through design, reiterations, digital versions, renders that have already been approved by me and the client. But I'm digressing. Since its conception, I knew that this painting would be a challenge for me. How could I present a very familiar setting, which is the still life painting that has been done in so many ways, shapes, and forms before by so many different artists, especially right now, but at the same time, still maintain a lot of the symbolism and emotional presence that I like to bring to other less familiar looking pieces of mine. In my first sketches, the crab was not the centerpiece at all. I had originally gone through a much more traditional depiction of a still life setting. I chose to go with the classic and depict a really big swan in the center of the table. But my clients, rightfully so, said that this was looking a little bit morbid, which I completely agreed, and then we switched over to the crab, which in the end made up for such a more interesting symbolic composition. We can get into all of the symbolism a little later on. For now, with transitioning a piece from a digital render to the physical painting is really important for me to create a lot of texture. And that texture is created by multiple layers of thinly collaged paper. At the end, when they're dry, they create this beautiful wrinkly texture. Once that is done, I can get to phase 2, which is the base painting. This is where I personally make the biggest mess. I am a messy painter, so when I'm doing the base work that requires a lot of paint will end up getting everywhere, which to me is the funnest part of the process, especially in big canvases like this where you have a lot of ground to cover. Doing this base work where you apply big chunks of paint in big chunks of the canvas is when I really truly feel like a painter. I also believe that color plays a really big role in amplifying the painting's energy. In this painting specifically, you see the earthly tones of the background making a really big contrast with the really bright colors that you will see in the more symbolic items in the painting, like the crab. You will soon see the lemons, the flowers, etc. This color relationship really demands and heightens the sense of movement of these more symbolic pieces. I find to be really important in my practice to use color as a tool, a means of communication, just as much as the symbols that I choose to paint in my paintings. So symbolically, at the heart of the painting, we have the crab that completely dominates the scene. By choosing to make the crab really oversized, I can turn it from being just a mere subject in this painting into a really active force that completely challenges the stillness of the surroundings. Again, it is a still life painting, but the crab in this size gives it such a dynamic, action-filled movement. And like I was saying before, I believe that the bright red color also really helps with that intention. Bright reds are colors that are often associated with passion, with intensity, with vitality. That brightness helps contrast the muted background, bringing our eyes to the center of the piece. The crab as a creature is one that moves between the land and the sea. So it represents adaptability, resilience, and the emotional depths that exist beneath the surface. My intention with this piece is that, in essence, the painting would invite a contemplation of contrast. The contrast between movement and stillness, of nature and civilization, of control and unpredictability. Very much like the crab contrasting itself against the still life setting it sits on. All of these contrasts, they, in my view, disrupt the conventional still life traditions by injecting a force that cannot be contained, urging us, the viewers, to reconsider the boundaries between the everyday and the extraordinary. The traditional, like a dining table setting, with the absurd, a giant crab sitting on top of it. This result to me is a very dynamic, almost surreal, like I said, meditation on power, presence, and transformation. I had a lot of fun creating this commission, and I can't wait to show you the next ones. See you in the next video.